Welcome back to the hottest marriage show that's coming to an end. It's I, John D. N,
Tanika.
aka
Do?
In Too Much Podcast, rescripting the culture one conversation at a time. Hey, I just want to give a special shout out again for my wife to really come on this journey with me because I didn't know what it was going to look like. If there is a couple become a cohesive unit, what like to get on like to go closer to a solid relationship, because 2 or 3 years really doesn't tell, if it's gonna go for the long haul.
I mean, a lot of people say the worst part is like the first 3 to 5 years.
Oh
Cause
really?
yeah, because you're getting to know. I mean, there are people who've been together for forever, but it's something about marriage that changes for some people. Some people will be like, it's just a piece of paper. We've lived together all this time. Nothing has really changed. But I don't know. Those first 3 to 5 years are weird because a lot of people are trying to figure out how to merge the two people into a partnership. So, what would you think? What would you say?
I think that they both need to ask each other, are they their safe place? And if they're not, they need to work on becoming each other's safe place. I really believe that a lot of men don't understand what that means. Like, I know you and I recently talked about it. There was a time back in like '08, '09 or something like this where she was just overwhelmed with work, being a parent, being a wife. She wanted to disappear and she ended up going to Mexico, right? And in my mind, I look back at that moment and what I was thinking, I had no idea why she was taking it, but I didn't have a problem with it. I felt like if she needed a break, she was more than welcome to go in. But under the circumstances, I don't like that's why she went, because she felt it was so heavy that she needed a break. And I don't ever, want you to like feel like that again, because I didn't know that she could feel that way. Because in my head, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. So if I knew that she felt like that, I would have done more. If she would have been like, if she would have known, like, I'm really tired. Can you do this? Like, but I think a lot of times, and I'm just speaking on behalf of me, I used to think that she would take advantage of me if I would do it. Like, if she was like, do this, and then she'll get just used to it where she wouldn't do it anymore. So it's now me up with an extra task. Now, although that could be very well true, it's not hurting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that the number of jobs women have aren't really spoken out loud. Like, the number of things that you guys worry about. Like, I don't worry about certain things. Like, and she doesn't turn off. And I think that's kind of what it is. Like, I think women are constantly trying to worry about everything. Like that like they're making sure everybody's okay. They're functioning. And I think that could be really tiring. But I don't want you to go through that. But I was saying, as far as the first 3 years, they have to become their safe place, because I wasn't your safe place to even understand what that meant for you.
I would also like to comment that in that moment, that there's been so many times that people have asked men if they wanted to, like, men act like what women do, it's not that hard. Men have way more to deal with. And then they'd be like, would you trade places with a woman? And men be like, nah. And when he said, that is just add another task onto my list. Like, why would I? But worrying about your partner taking advantage of you by handing things over to you to lighten their load, like, to me, and it's not to say that this is, but how I read it is, wow, like, what do you think of me in the sense that I would want to take advantage of you? Like, somebody you love will take, true enough, there are people you love that will take advantage of you. But to say, if I tell her I'm gonna do this, she gonna start. You give somebody an inch, they take a mile, and then all of a sudden I got tasks that I can't load back off on her. Part of it is not knowing the extent of all the things that are done. So you don't know these little itty bitty things that I'm saying, can you at least do this for me? And then I'll do this. Like, usually when women delegate something to their partner, it's not the most difficult thing they have on the plate, because if it's more involved, more complicated, it has more moving parts. I'm not going to run the risk of somebody just doing it off the fly, like, John, can you do this for me? And it has all these parts, and then I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know what he's. I'm not. I'm gonna give you the things that are little itty bitty things to just take the busy work off. The more complicated things that y'all wouldn't want to have anything to do with, in most cases, we're never going to hand that to y'all because we can't guarantee you're going to hit all the points. We don't know. First of all, if we have an idea of what we want done, we see it a certain way. And if you do it and it's not done the way I saw it, I'm going to go and do it again. So what's the point? But the stuff that it still needs to get done, but it doesn't have to be done in a particular way. We'll delegate that more easily. Like if I'm like, hey, can you go, can you take the kids over to their practice? Or can you, those are things that
simple stuff.
But I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, we have a kid that is like last year when Dallas was getting ready to go to U of M for that camp for 3 weeks. I didn't ask him one thing about, can you help him get ready? Because there are too many things to think about. And it's too many. And he will be like, you don't need all that. So no, we ain't gonna do that. Dallas out here with a Swiss Army knife and some trail mix. He'll be all right. That I could not leave that because there will be so many things left. He had 2 pencils for the entire 3 weeks. I can't do that. But if it's something like, I need you. Can you handle dinner tonight? I'm not gonna give you the stuff that has a lot going on. So in most cases, if a woman is handing something off to her partner, trust and believe you are not getting the heavy lift. Because we can't gamble with that. You're gonna get the lightweight stuff. So please say, oh, okay, well, what else can I do? Because there's so much. And I know a lot of the times men will think, y'all doing too much. It's not even necessary. You don't even have to worry about that stuff. Like you're just being extra. But in a lot of ways, John tells me that when I'm like preparing the kids for certain things or doing whatever, because I want to make sure that as many bases are covered. If they need something, it's taken care of, or they have access to it, or whatever. He'd be like, mm-mm. Now I do want them to be able to figure out, how to get out of a wet paper bag with some instructions. But I don't think that they should be out here just loose. Well, yeah. There are a lot of things that, yes, we worry about, and we worry about in detail. But I want you to also think about the fact that it serves you too. Because I remember we used to travel a lot, and I would pack everybody's bag, and John would pack his backpack. And he would say, these are the clothes I'm wearing. We'll be gone for 3 days. John would have 3 outfits. And I'd be like, well, we might need, or he would go on a trip with the Qs, and then he'll be like, this is what I'm wearing. And I'm like, but what if y'all go out? So shouldn't you have some jeans? Like, shouldn't you have some other shoes? John walking around in some fatigue, camo, Birkenstocks, and some shorts the whole time. I'm like, what if everybody plans to do something? And so then I started packing his bag for him. So then when he came back the first time, he was like, I had something for everything. Like we was doing stuff, I had everything, right? And so after that, I was just packing his bag. Well, when he came back from Abu Dhabi, I remember the first time we went somewhere. We went to Atlanta for somebody's birthday. And I wasn't packing his bag. I was like, no. This is the crazy thing. We had been apart for 2 years. He had come to visit, but he had clothes here and stuff. So it wasn't like he had to pack a lot to come back here, back and forth or whatever. But when he came back, I was like, he's been traveling. He's been doing whatever. He could pack his own bag. Man, we got down there. That man was missing all kind of stuff. He was like, and we got back. He said, why didn't you pack my bag? I was like, because you can pack your own bag. But he realized the value of somebody thinking in so much detail.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't understand it. Like, I look at all of my friends, they all had it. I just didn't ever have it. I guess I've always lived off of survival mode. If I need to run, I got enough stuff to run.
What is that? Right. He was like, I could only make a go bag. He could only like he in protective custody. That is circling back to what you were saying before. I guess when you're talking about being a safe place, one of the things I needed as a safe place was not just to be able to unload verbally or just get whatever off my mind. It was somebody who could really be there to buffer. And I really was overwhelmed. When he was talking about, I was working night shift at the time. We had the 2 kids. This was 2014. So you had just, so well, you stopped working at Maduro's, right? So for the entire period that he was building the cigar bar business, I had gone through nursing school. I was taking care of the two kids, and then I was co-parenting with his sister because our nephew, we used to raise the kids all together. So we're like picking up from school and helping with teaching and cooking dinner and doing all this other stuff. The kids, I wanted them in activities. So I would take them to their activities. There were so many things I was doing, and the kids seemed to be fine. He was doing the cigar bar, and it was really another social outlet for him, even though he acted like it was work.
Like every day.
Look, we'll revisit that somewhere in the next few weeks. But there were not only me working, then when I started working, I was working nights. So I worked nights. I would come home, I would sleep for 4 hours, then I would pick the kids up and then go take them. Like I had to feed them, help them with their homework, then take them to our sister. And then I'm back at work. And then he would pick them up at 11 at night and get them at home. And then he's back up and he's gone. We didn't even really see each other. I literally was losing my brain to the point where I was riding down the highway going to work, and I said, if I drive into this median, all of this would stop.
Oh my God.
Yes. And I didn't, obviously. I love my children. I love my husband. I wouldn't want it to, but in my head, when people talk about those intrusive thoughts, and I was like, if I drive into this median, and then I'm thinking about others, oh my God, I would hurt other people on the highway if I drive off into these trees. Like, just drive off into the trees. I know that this all stop. Yes. But that day, I went to work. I was thinking that as I was driving to work, just thinking about the doom and gloom. And when I got home that day, I called my mom and I said, I have to get out of here. Not I have to leave the marriage. Get me out. I was like, I cannot be here. There's somewhere I have to go, and I have to go, and I have to be by myself. And my mom was like, you're not going anywhere by yourself. She's like, I'll go, and I won't even talk to you. Like, we can sit somewhere. She was like, you sit on the beach. I might have told y'all this. You can sit on the beach. You can read all day. You can eat. I'm only going to be around. So you're not going into another country by yourself or doing whatever. And I left for like 4 days, and I came back, and I was like, okay. And I ended up looking for another job, and it changed the whole thing. But I needed everything to stop. Now, instead of driving off into these trees and ending everything permanently, possibly, I just needed a moment to be able to really process all the things that are always flying in my head, get them to quiet down, and then make a plan to move forward. And it really helped me. But I let myself get there because I didn't think I could tell you that all this stuff is going on. Because John, at the time, John could have said, you don't have to do all the stuff you're doing. Like, them kids don't need to go to those activities. Them kids can eat one day.
But I am
one day
right. I am right, though.
Those kids don't need this. Those kids, you don't have to do any of that stuff. But I did. I did have to do those things because if I didn't, I would have felt like it's a possibility that I'm leaving them like unprepared for things. I'm not giving them they did not ask to be here. They did not ask any of that stuff, but it's my job. Yes, but it is our job to not just bring kids into the world and then sit them in the house. Like, I bring you here just for you to exist, and then you go off into the world later. Like, no, you bring kids into the world and then you let them experience life. Like, and I can't just be I don't feel like it's too much going on. So who's going to get the short end of the stick? These kids going to have to just be at home. These kids are going to have to just deal with whatever they just walk around. And there are people who they can't afford to do the things that they want to do for their kids. I get that. But for me, if it's possible, I brought them here. So I need to do the things that I wish, or even the things that were done for me. My mom had us in all kind of stuff. If we asked, we were in it, and not in a spoiled way. If we asked about something we were really interested in, she'll find it for us. So it could develop it. And I feel like if I bring kids in the world, we made a decision that only 2 were affordable. We wasn't going past 2. So then that means if they're affordable, then we should be doing stuff. It has to happen. But the thing is that if I'd have told him the things that were overwhelming me, the first thing he would have told me is what the kids don't need.
That's where I was then, for sure.
Look, what the kids do not need. And if I talked to him and his response was was in direct conflict with what I believe.
Yeah,
Why
but
would
that was just bad information that I had that I was practicing.
Yeah, I get it.
Like I just felt like you should have been. I did believe that you should come before doing all of that, but I understand now that that's what I'm supposed to pick up, or you shouldn't even be running on fumes like that, you know. But
Yeah, and so getting back to what you were saying about being that safe space, like usually when there's a problem, I'm in my head thinking of a solution. I don't ever say, "This is the problem. How can we fix it?" There wasn't any team solution building type stuff going on with us in the beginning. A lot of it was, I'm this kind of person, he's this kind of person. If I tell him what my problem is, his solution is going to be one solution, and it's going to be like, cut it, this, and it was in direct opposition of anything I was trying to do. So then what do? Then I need to find the solution by myself. And that's not ideal for if you really want a marriage to work. So, but it requires both people wanting to be, an open, safe place for each other. And really knowing that when you're in this, you're partnering with, like, this is a partnership. I don't think that everybody knows that. I think some people get into it and it's love, but you're gonna love a lot of people because they're really great people, but they're not gonna be people that you're gonna be able to run this enterprise known as a family with well and effectively. So building a partnership of how we're gonna run things, I think that that's the biggest thing that you have to do. And like I think of marriage like if you're a baby, you're in your infancy in that first year, like 3 to 5 you're in the early childhood thing. You guys are learning how to put things together. You're learning how to cut, paste, color, combine all these different things. You're learning how to spell. You're learning how to do all these things together. In the beginning, it's all cute and fun. Everybody smells good. We love all the little cool and the kind and hugging up on people and all the other stuff. It's cute. But you can't live the rest of your life in infancy. So, however you came into the marriage, you were a little baby kid. There's expected to be growth and development and ability for you to gain more function and be able to like operate on a more detailed level. And I think that's probably circling back to what you asked me actually. I think that will probably be what I think anybody in there 3 to 5 years is like, okay, let's look at this and figure out how your family and your marriage, when you step back and look at it, you need to understand the larger view of it is this is your business, this is the enterprise, this is the thing that you build all things off of. So you need to make sure that thing is airtight and it has all of the proper functioning. And when you don't have someone who's skilled in something, if somebody else is more apt to be able to pick up that skill, then pick up that skill. Don't just be standing around holding, I be saying standing around holding your thing, but no, don't just be standing around and hoping that things are going to develop and fix it, or even standing around and thinking that the partner is going to figure it out. This is a shared journey. Now you're going to have some weaknesses, they're going to have some weaknesses, but the whole goal John always talks about is being a complement to one another. So if I don't know it and you don't know it, one of us is going to have to be the one that says I'll figure this out, but it got to get figured out.
for sure.
So for me, it was let me pass him the stuff that I'm not really worried about the details, and he executes things, so he'll get it done just like that, and then that's gone. I don't have to worry about it, and then I just fret over the details.
For sure.
Long winded.
No, I mean it makes sense. I just, as far as in the beginning, at that point, you have to be intentional about that because it's almost like it's gonna like I guess it's gonna you're gonna argue a lot too because you guys are learning each other. But the only thing that I can honestly say that would have changed you and I if we were told when you guys have a conflict, if it's something that you don't like about me, ask, is it helping the relationship? If it's not helping the relationship, then the behavior needs to change. I'm
Okay.
not and most of the time it was things that was outside of the house. I was like, even if I said I need me time, why is my me time outside of the house? It needs to be inside the house. Because like you said, we're trying to create a foundation. You have to organize everything in your house before you worry about anything outside. And a lot of times the distractions outside will prevent you from learning what you need to be learning intentionally. So if I was told like the things that you used to say you didn't like, I always had a reason why it was okay for me to do it. And if we were to say, is it hurting the house or is it helping the house? And if it's hurting the house, then a behavior needs to be changed. You can't come up with an excuse talking about you know who I am, or
I hate you know who I am. I hate that message. But I agree with you. Is it hurting or is it helping?
Yeah, and I mean, like at the end of the day, like nobody wants to take fun away from somebody, but if it's not helping, it's okay to change it. You know, you can revisit it another time, but I felt like I had a reason for every single thing. Anything that you disagree with,
absolutely,
I had a reason.
I say something to John and he'd be like, let me look at my special book. He'll pull out a big ass binder, start flipping the pages. The reason why I'm doing this, he had a book. No, but it was, yeah, his reasons for things were endless.
But most of my reasons was backed by current information that I've been listening to, and I'm like, this is the reason why I'm doing this.
Can I just revert back to the time that we argued about whether or not women were drivers or
What
not?
are we doing?
John used his resource for saying that women were worse drivers was a petroleum.com website. It had an article on it.
This is how we celebrate. This is how we
his
celebrate.
Resources, y'all, be having questionable credibility.
How long ago was that?
It was petro.com.
How long ago was that? That was a long time ago.
It was 2018. But the point is that John, even before that, John will give you it will give you percentages that nobody is researching. But like 97% of the time, this is what's happening. Who said that, John? I just know this to be true. So when he hit me with the petro.com article, that was the proof I needed. Like I had sent him a write-up and I sent him a link to a Pew Research Center, like a peer-reviewed article from a university that was talking about this stuff. And John said petro.com. This is the information. So when we're sitting here arguing, brother, you come with a petro.com article, that in and of itself is going to go down in time. I'm bringing it up every year. Because when he sits there and says, you know, this is what I was learning at the time from the information that was provided to me, and be like, John.
No, I'm saying, like, when I say that, I mean, you know, work can be overwhelming. Life could be, you need me times. When I took that, okay, I'm going to take my me time before I come home. So as soon as I get off work, I go smoke a cigar, I come home. You know what I'm saying? So in my head, like, that was my time. That was me having this hour and a half accounted for, because this is my me time. So that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm hearing things that could benefit, I was like, this is what I need. I was looking for ways for me to enjoy life, but that's what I meant when I said that.
I understand, but also I would like to say it goes along with the whole idea. You're like, I need my me time. So I'm going to, after work, I'm going to do this and then I'll come home and then I'll do whatever I need to do. That wasn't an option for me because the kids had to be picked up at a certain time. So my me time was the drive.
I used to drive them in the morning.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so when I get off work, there's no transition. Like, at least for you, you were in a building full of kids. You drive home, you got that drive home, you stop, you relax with your friends, you hang out, and then you go home and you do your second job, father, husband. With me, it's like you get off work, you race through traffic, you pick up these kids, and then you got to do this, and this. So it's nice. I think a lot of women are like, it's nice that men can just, and this is no bash on you, but that men, they're like, I need my me time, so this is what I'm gonna do. Women, if we needed time after, like, I remember they used to do happy hour sometimes when I taught. The teachers would do happy hour. So then I would have to contact John and say, hey, I want to do happy hour. Can I, can you pick up the kids, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes he wouldn't be able to. And I don't necessarily know why, but he wouldn't be able to. And I would have to leave the happy hour by 5:45 to get to the daycare at 6 to be able to pick up Day in Dallas. And so even in that, there were restrictions to what I could do. But I used to talk to my girlfriends all the time, and they'll be like, men, they decide what they're going to do. Women ask if it's going to be okay, like if the schedule allows. Men don't think, does the schedule allow? Do I need to go pick these kids up? Do I need to do this, do that? They don't have it. It's such a great luxury. And I don't think y'all know y'all have it.
No, I mean, like, I made those decisions knowing what my schedule was. If I had to pick up the kids in the afternoon, I wouldn't have me time. You act like I would, like, I made you decide that I was going to take them in the morning. It would just worked with the schedule. Like you're telling me, like I wouldn't do that on purpose. There's no
I
way.
know you wouldn't do it on purpose, but what I'm saying is that men, when they think about
I definitely agree
what they
to.
want to do, they say, this is what I'm about to do. And then he'll say, you know, oh, I'm going to meet the cues after this for this, or I'm going to do this. It's never like, do you have everything okay? Is it okay if I go do this? It's never, it's not a question of, is it okay? It's informative. When you talk, when you
Oh
used to
no,
talk to me.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like to think that.
I don't think
that
you were being mean.
No, but
I
I'm
just
saying I
think
don't
that
think that I was. To me, yeah, I don't think I would do that because if you had something to do, I wouldn't do it.
I know, but what I'm saying to you is in your head, it's like, oh yeah, this is something that I could do. And then you'll be like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that just to let you know. I'll be like, oh, okay. It's not to be mean and say, I'm going to do this. Now make sure you ask permission if you want to do anything else. It's not like that. It's like a natural idea that if there's something you would like to do, you're just going to let me know that you're not going to be home yet because you're going to do this. This is young us. This is not us now.
No. I know. I'm just dang. That's like I didn't want to even be like that then.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but it's a natural, and I can say that it's something that's very commonly done amongst men because when I talk to my other girlfriends who are married, it's how it goes. Like, that's just how you all approach it, and it's not in a malicious way, but it's like, oh yeah, I want to do that, so I'm gonna do that. And then you let your wife know that you're not, but it's not like, let me make sure that everything is good. Like, I don't need to handle dinner, or I don't need to do this or do that before I decide if I'm gonna do this. It's not, let me make sure I don't have any other. In your head, it's like, it's a Tuesday night, so I can do that. Kanika, I'm not coming home no more. No, it's like, hey, Barbara, it's like you go in and you be like, oh, it's a Tuesday. I could go do this. Okay, I'm just going to let Kanika know I'm not coming home yet. It's not, it's a Tuesday. I wonder if Kanika needs me to make dinner or none of that.
Yeah, you're right. There was none of those thoughts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I'm saying it's.
But we don't know to think like that either.
I know.
Like it isn't.
I hate that.
Yeah, like that's why I said, like, if we knew the things that you guys were doing all by yourself, maybe some people wouldn't accept that responsibility. But I think a true partner wouldn't want your partner having all the heavy work. Yeah. And that wouldn't be fair. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know how to describe these things or say, hey, this is what I need you to do, because men already feel like we're doing the heavy work. No, I mean,
but they won't ever trade places with us though. But they're doing the heavy lifting. But they won't wait. So in the back of their brain, they know that there's way more going on over there than they want to deal with. They be like, I don't want to deal with all what's going on over there. So I mean, but you know,
yeah. At least I don't want to. And if I do come close to it, I would like to be corrected because I'll do it again.
Absolutely. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
My calendar looks free. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I've learned so much. I promise I did. Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
No.
All right. The countdown is real. Y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.